Let's return to session. We have one item that I've been requested by our staff to revisit around approval of contracts and grants from our consent calendar. So Chancellor or Steve or Eric, who would like to present this? Eric?
All right. Yeah, this item is, and I believe the handout was passed out, is kind of a late-breaking bit of good news, which is the California State Assembly is making available to the community colleges $2 million on a one-time basis. And this is kind of an annual event here, at least during these tough budget times, when the state legislature has adopted budget cuts. Both the Senate and the Assembly have taken on the practice of wanting to share in those cuts to demonstrate to California that they are feeling the pain as well. But they structure the cut in a way where if they took a permanent cut in their budget because of constitutional spending caps on legislative spending, they would be permanently locking in their funding at a lower base. So what they do is they on an annual basis will redirect some funds to meet other statewide needs, usually in areas that have been hard hit by budget cuts. So this year, the Speaker of the Assembly has designated the California Community Colleges, UC, and CSU as the recipients of that. And so before you is a $2 million augmentation. These are one-time funds coming to us from the State Assembly. So, obviously much appreciation to the Speaker for making us a priority. And the funding has been directed for two activities or two purposes, one of which is augmenting book grants for EOPS students. So this is an existing program, and the $1 million, $1 million of the $2 million will go towards augmenting those grants on a one-time basis. And the other $1 million is to spearhead student success initiatives. And so it's very exciting that it provides a real shot in the arm for the Student Success Task Force and some of the work that is emerging from that group. In particular, the two items that are highlighted are the common assessment, so moving that common assessment proposal forward, as well as an electronic transcript initiative, both of which are legislation that the board has sponsored this year. And so it's again some good news, but just but late breaking news, and that's why it's being added at this juncture. And at this point, if you could just I would think amend your motion on the contract to include this item as well. That will give the office all the authority we need to make sure the money gets used according to the purposes specified. So I'm available for questions, but again, it's some good news.
Member Mailman?
Do we thank the entire Assembly, or is this a leadership or a Rules Committee decision?
It's the Speaker's office is definitely in the driver's seat on this. They have not made large any public statements about this so far. I'm sure that there will be appropriate venues in which for us to provide the Speaker and the Assembly with the recognition that they deserve for this. But at this point, we're actually, this is probably the first public identification of this, and we're proceeding with it because, again, we need to have the authority to make sure that over the next couple months so we can make the headway we need to. So I think that's primarily with the Speaker that's in the decision-making role on that.
Thank you.
Member Zumi?
I think I made the motion, so I would just move to amend my motion to reflect this addition.
Okay.
A second.
There's a second. Eric, just a quick question. On the second piece of it, the $2 million, does the Chancellor's office have discretionary authority on that as to how it's spent?
Those
two?
No, the two items, the electronic transcript and the common assessment, have been specified.
Okay.
And in our conversations with the Speaker's office, if those are the priorities that are specified at this point. Honestly, I think if the task force wanted to had ideas of how better to structure that, they'd be open to a conversation with us about that, but coming out of the gate, the e-transcript and the common assessment were identified, and I think that's probably going to just be the cleanest way to leave it structured.
Okay, we have a motion on the floor and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes as amended. Right, Steve? All good. Okay.